Smile, John.
Good evening. We're in Studio 6C tonight. It's September 11th, 2025, Thursday, and it's my pleasure and distinct honor to be speaking with Mr. John J. Jeckovich. How are you doing today?
Very good, thank you.
You're looking nice. You have a beautiful red sweater. Did you have a good dinner?
Oh, yeah.
I heard you were out and about today.
Oh, yeah.
You went to the bank. You went to the bank and you brought all your keys to your safety deposit box.
Yeah, our safe deposit box way at the top of the ceiling.
How the hell did you get up there?
He had a ladder to get up there. Right at the top of the
Do
ceiling.
you remember being at the top of the ceiling when you rented it 30 years ago?
No.
So, okay, so it's at the top of the ceiling and they bring it down to you.
And it's empty.
They laid it in your lap, and what was in there?
Nothing.
Kind of like Rivaldo Rivero when he had that big movie when he opened up the safe. Remember? What's his name?
Yeah, it was Geraldo Rivera.
Geraldo Rivero opened up the safe during a big movie,
Yeah.
and it was filled with nothing. So you went all morning. You got your safety deposit box retrieved about 7 foot up in the air.
Yeah.
Laid it on the lap. Laid it on your lap. You opened the key and
Nothing there.
Oh, I was expecting bars of gold.
Bars of gold. Yeah.
Cash.
What did you think was going to be in it?
Nothing, because we never used it. We never used it.
Yeah.
But we had to make sure.
You had to make sure. So that was a fun day for you.
Yeah.
Who drove you up there, Alice?
Yeah.
That was nice. Were you kind of disappointed when you put your keys in and there was nothing in there?
Yeah.
It was a whole morning ordeal.
Way at the top of the ceiling.
Was that bank busy?
Yeah.
Well, that broke up the monotony, didn't it?
Yeah.
That broke up the monotony.
27 minutes.
Mr. Jeckovich was from Company H, the 2nd Battalion of the 291st Regiment of the 75th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army during World War II. Mr. Jeckovich lives by the motto, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift, right? Do you want a coffee?
No, thanks.
Do you want a donut?
No, nothing.
So you're all right then. Mr. Jeckovich wrote a big, beautiful book. It was titled Their Mother's Sons. How many pages?
849.
Yeah. And the book is basically figure Mr. Jeckovich from his age 11 all the way through his adult life when he's caring for his mother at age 11 because his father died as a young man in his late 30s, working 3 different jobs, trying to give this family a better life than he had in the ghettos of Russia. And so there's where it begins. Mr. Jeckovich stayed to his mother's demise at her age of 89. And he made numerous sacrifices. One that comes to mind was he just was a product of the Great Depression. Do you have any memory of the Depression? Did it affect your family?
No, I was too young.
Didn't seem to affect your family much, huh?
No, never appreciated it.
Yeah. So Mr. Jeckovich was a product of the Great Depression, and then shortly thereafter, as he became a teenage boy, he went into World War II. He didn't enlist, and the reason why he didn't enlist, he waited to be drafted. Why'd you wait to be drafted?
Take care of my mother.
Spend more time with his mother. But, back then things were different. If you enlist in World War II, you could get yourself a better job, a better position. For example, your brother enlisted, and what did he do?
Drive Jeeps.
Taught other cadets to drive Jeeps.
Yeah.
He stayed in New York State for the most part, never seen active combat duty. Was he some type of perfect record in driving? Is that that's how come he got
I
there?
hit a fire hydrant.
He had a fire hydrant. Uh-huh. So Mr. Jeckovich's case, he waited till he got drafted so he could spend more time caring for his mother. And the things are different then. When you're drafted, I'll guarantee you, and he was guaranteed, you're not going to be teaching young cadets to drive Jeeps. You're going to be frontline combat, and either in the Pacific or in Europe. Which one did you go to?
Europe, thank God.
Did you want to go to the Pacific?
No, no, no.
And during that time, as a teenage boy, by the way, they were affectionately called the diaper division, and that's affectionately and respectfully called. How come they called you the diaper division?
There's 33s.
33 is the code for all
24.
teenage boys. Teenage boys, believe it or not, are the best fighters. They have a lot of stamina, a lot of endurance, and they're in there. And so they're affectionately called the diaper division. After a long training of about a year, he ended up in the Battle of the Bulge. And he was in the wrong place at the wrong time in Bastogne. What did they tell you to do at Bastogne? About Bastogne, what did they tell you to do about it? Hold Bastogne. The weather was horrible for 4 days and 4 nights. They couldn't get air support. They couldn't get ammunition drop, food drop. They couldn't get 30, 40,000 paratroopers they desperately needed. They couldn't get air support to shoot down some of the ground troops of the Nazis. They had hundreds of thousands and thousands of tanks. They basically surrounded Bastogne. So they told Mr. Jeckovich and all the other fighting soldiers, under no circumstance, leave it, hold it, and hold it. They did, and fourth night the skies cleared. They held Bastogne. They got great air support, lots of paratroopers, ammunition drops, all kinds of resources came in. But by that time, there was very, very high casualty rates in the 90s, and the white snow was red, body parts everywhere, but they held Bastogne. And by holding Bastogne, they had a new nickname, no longer called the Diaper Division, and now they're nicknamed the Bloody Bastards of Bastogne, and that nickname stays to this date, the Bloody Bastards of Bastogne. And then from that point on, oh, by the way, during all that, Mr. Jeckovich was shot in the shoulder by a sniper, beat up, stabbed, dirty bomb, lost a hip, yeah, dirty bomb. What's a dirty bomb?
Got all kinds of stuff, screwdrivers, knives, everything.
Hit by a dirty bomb. The dirty bomb took off his buddy's, Donald Lape's head, and the Nazis would stick in there, and the bomb would have blew up for maximum damage and pain. They put in there screwdrivers, razor blades, old tools, anything metal and sharp that could hurt the boys. He was hit by that, still has shrapnel in his body, and he also has frostbite and trench foot. How's the frostbite today?
Still here, still here.
80 years later, night and day.
Seven.
Your pain level 7. 80 years later, night and day, pain and frostbite. Yeah. He had many awards. We can talk about those later. But then after all that, him and the whole division moved further to liberate the concentration camps. And the Holocaust is not an easy subject to talk about, but it will rent space in your head for the last 80 years. The Germans under Hitler and those who collaborated or agreed to work with them murdered 6 million Jewish men, women, and children during World War II. In the book, he says, the numbers alone seem too large to comprehend, which they are. Tragic and cruel events happen in history and continue to happen today, unfortunately. But no other event was as wide-ranging in scope, as devious in its planning and execution, and as the horrifying in its use of modern technology. Human beings and families and communities that had lived in Europe for centuries were destroyed, totally annihilated. The Nazis deceived their victims in cruel ways. Though they treated Jews like animals, Nazis deliberately confused them into thinking perhaps everything would be fine. The Nazis gave false hope to the people they deported, right up to the doors of the gas chambers, which were disguised as shower rooms. Yeah. The victims would be far less likely to resist as long as the Germans hid the truth. The Germans were hiding the truth, yeah.
Hello.
They were. That they and their parents and their children were going to be, they hid the truth that they and their parents and their children were going to be starved, worked to death, gassed or shot. By hiding this information, the Nazis and their collaborators destroyed millions of people, millions. Nonetheless, some people did resist. The resistance took three forms: armed, unarmed, and spiritual. Armed resistance involved the use of weapons. Unarmed resistance did not. Spiritual resistance concerned the refusal of a person to be crushed by the Nazis. Resistance occurred whenever Nazis imposed their rules. In cities, ghettos, and camps, people risked their lives to resist. In the forest and the cities, resistant fighters, known as partisans, fought together against the Nazis. The Nazis were very devious and cunning in such selfish ways. Many who resisted were killed. Some of their names are celebrated throughout the world. Only a minority of European Jews were somehow able to survive the horror of the Holocaust, and lasted from 39 to 45. But Hitler's goal of murdering the Jews was first imagined many years earlier. Yeah. What a horrible situation. What a horrible situation. Let me give you some other highlights and we'll move on. The resistance in the camps. The Nazis built thousands of camps, including death camps. Millions of Jewish men, women, and children died in these camps, some of starvation and some of disease. Most were killed in gas chambers immediately after they arrived at one of several camps. Auschwitz was the largest. Like Auschwitz, the largest death camps were located in German-occupied Poland. Resistance in the camps were even more unlikely and dangerous than in the ghettos. Almost no one was prepared for what awaited them in the camps, and no one could organize resistance in advance. In addition, the camps were more isolated than the ghettos, so there was virtually no opportunity to smuggle in weapons. Upon arriving at these death camps, the cattle cars, you remember the cattle cars?
Yeah.
Or passenger trains full of Jews were unloaded. Nazis took place. Those who were considered fit for labor were separated. So the ones who were fit for labor that had strong bodies would go into the work camps. And for those who were not, of the thousands of arrivals, only a handful were selected to work in a camp. The majority of men and women judged to be physically unable to work, children and the elderly, and the women with small children were immediately sent to death camps. But first they're ordered to take off all their clothing. It would be sorted through and sent to the Germany for civilians and soldiers. Women's hair was shaved off to be made into wigs, mattress stuffing, thread for shoes, carpets or upholstery for cars and U-boats. Yeah, What animals? What fucking animals? Those selected for death were packed into gas chambers. The gas chambers were designed with a light bulb and a window. This allowed the prisoners assigned to this grisly task to make sure that the gas used in the camp killed everyone in 15 minutes or less. Then they emptied out the chambers, pulled out any gold teeth with pliers. What complete animals. And proceeded to burn the bodies, either in crematory ovens designed specifically for this purpose or in open ditches. The chimneys were to turn the air black, and stench of the burning flesh filled the air. It was the first thing new prisoners noticed. Those who survived were now prisoners. Those assigned a number and giving striped uniforms and a wooden shoes or clogs that usually did not fit in a bowl and a spoon. At Auschwitz, their numbers were tattooed onto them. Remember seeing many people, maybe going back 20 years, older ladies and men that had numbers tattooed on their arms?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we see that. I think most of them are gone now. And numbers tattooed on them. Many died from overwork or dangerous work conditions. The water at the camp was almost undrinkable, and the food rations were intentionally not enough to sustain a person. Among the inmates at Auschwitz were two gypsies, Soviet prisoners of war, Poles, political prisoners, and religious descendants such as Jehovah's Witness. Many died of disease and abuse. All prisoners were mistreated, but the only Jews and gypsies were singled out for gassing.
Took their teeth off.
Yeah, gold teeth, dirty bastards. There were roll calls in the camps, sometimes several times a day. They started before dawn and often occurred throughout the day. Prisoners were counted each time. Any deviation from the will of the prisoner in charge or the work team made up for other prisoners could result in brutal beating, frequently clean punishment, being shot on the spot, any attempt to resist or escape, punishable by death. So they did many counts each day during the day, and if the counts weren't right, pick anyone, shoot them, and beat them up. Even the barbaric conditions of the camps and the fact that the prisoners often spoke different languages. Yeah, that's a good point. Many of the prisoners spoke different languages from all over. The resistance did occur. Political organizations met secretly. One Polish resistance group in Auschwitz smuggled medicine and supplies to help relieve suffering of fellow inmates. Those inmates who worked producing German military equipment in factories sometimes engaged in sabotage at the risk of death. The most dramatic form of resistance were armed revolts. Those who led these attacks did so out of desperation and a clear sense that all Jews in the camps were doomed. The camps were meant to degrade and destroy life and crush the spirits of inmates. Camp inmates who refused to give up hope or religious faith despite the circumstances engaged in spiritual resistance. It borders on faith, divine intervention, and nothing else. What a horrible situation. Well, Mr. Jeckovich and many others, they liberated these concentration camps. And it's something that words can't describe. Yeah. Something that words can't describe. I'll find more aspects here. I'm only going to touch on a few, and I'm gonna read some other notes that we have. Jewish men at the camp are forced to dig their own graves before being executed by German troops. Yeah.
It was pit trap, body pits.
Body pits.
Yeah,
Yeah. They were forced to dig their own grave, then they were executed.
yeah, yeah.
As the news spread about Ponar and other massacres of the Jews by Nazis, sympathetic local population, underground leaders, and many ghettos began organizing armed resistance. They wanted to make it hard for Germans to deport ghetto residents because they now understood that the deportees were being sent to death. These activists preferred to die fighting rather than mass execution. Yeah, that's the chance they had. It was a horrible situation. Words can't describe it. And so after Mr. Jeckovich was in the Battle of Bulge and Bastogne, he liberated the camps, and I'm sure he's got rent space in his mind every day. We're going to pick up some other notes. We're on church service and the Battle of Bulge, and we're on page 274. And now you're getting to the front line, minutes?
8.
You're getting to the front line, and it's very cold, the coldest winter record, and you found a farmhouse and you're looking for a barn for us to spend the night in. I then turned my attention to the barn. As it looked intact, I reached a wide door and pushed it gently open. It squeaked loudly. Do you remember the squeak?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thinking that someone would hear me sent a chill up my sweaty back. I entered a large barn, and I could see that it had been used once for storage of farm vehicles and equipment. Was the farm vehicle still in there?
Yeah, the farmhouse, yeah.
I'm surprised the Nazis didn't destroy them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Over to one side of the large area piled high with hay, it was overjoyed at the sight of it. Upon further looking about, I was satisfied that no one else was inside. Because you never know, right?
Yeah.
Could be snipers, right? I went back outside to where I left Lape and told him to bring the rest of the squad up. They followed me into the barn, and when they saw the mounds of hay, they just collapsed into them. Hay was your friend during the war, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Kept you warm. It was then I cautioned them as to be quiet as possible, no fires, and to change their socks and fill their boots with straw to help them drying it out. Oh yeah, so the straw in their boots would dry out the dampness.
Yeah.
To change from wet ones, the socks. I stated I would take the first watch. Lape would relieve me in an hour, and we'd go down the squad in that fashion until daylight. I left them with a final word. Get some sleep, as we'll be pushing off early in the morning. I took a bunch of straw and set it close to the door. I did not want to stay outside, as it was getting bitter cold, and I figured I could hear anyone approaching before I saw them. I took off my boots and wet socks. I felt good to shed the wet clothes and put on dry ones. I also changed my long sleeve shirt, undershirt, and finally stretched out in the raw, warm straw. That must have felt good after. Yeah. Hoping that I would not fall asleep, I opened K-ration breakfast and started to gulp down its contents. As I lay there, I thought how strange it was to be lying in an unknown barn, miles away from anywhere. Then I thought of Fink, lying out there in the woods covered with snow. No one knew where he was. Once outside, reading the remainder of his dog tag. He would just be another dead GI. I felt bad about this death and somehow wished that I could have done more for him when we were together. This is my first experience in losing a dear friend, and it affected me greatly. So Fink was moving forward by himself, checking out the area, and he got shot directly by a sniper. You took his weapon, shot and killed the sniper because he was up in an evergreen tree wearing white. The Nazi was wearing white, and that stood out. But you took Fink's dog tags, or at least one of them. But when was Fink's body ever to be picked up?
Okay?
When was Fink's body ever to be picked up? When was there someone recover his body?
How they cover Fink's body?
Yeah, when would it be?
Huh?
When would their bodies be recovered that were dead from the war? How long would it take to someone recover the bodies?
Well, they buried the body and put the rifle on top of it, and that was it.
They buried him right there?
Yeah.
How long did it take after he got killed?
Well, the Grave Registration came up and took him care of then.
Who came up?
Grave Registration.
Okay, all right. I then thought of the German I had killed. Who was he? Someone, someplace would also grieve for him and not see him again in his lifetime, and again in his lifetime. I also thought of my action in taking his life. I did not feel elated now when I first fired on him and ended his life. I could see him lying there, not too far from where Fink was lying, his face all distorted in pain and anguish. I had ended his life in a split second of revenge and taken Fink's life, also in desperation to save my own life. Where else had I resorted to anger and frustration to remedy an injustice of right of wrongdealing? It was then, as I lay all warm and half asleep, that I recalled as I looked upon the dead German, fleeting glimpse of my dad. Oh, you looked upon the dead German that you killed?
2.5.
You look what?
You looked upon the dead German that killed Fink, a fleeting glimpse of my dead father lying on a marble slab in the morgue of the hospital that fateful night in October.
Yeah.
Perhaps this was the second person whose life I'd taken away, one indirectly and the other more directly and traumatically. But it's
2:10.
So Barnes were basically your friend during the war, right?
Who?
Barnes were a very good place to be, right?
Barnes, oh yeah, they were warmer, they had hay in it.
Tell us about the one time you were in a barn and Post failed to disguise the Jeep. What happened?
Patton came up and seen the Jeep and drove around for him, found us in the barn. The guy gets your ass up, get going to the next checkpoint. Go. Pouring rain out.
So it was pouring rain and General Patton seen a Jeep in front of a barn.
Yeah.
Because Post, the driver, failed to camouflage it. So General Patton came in and said, "Get out of here, go to work."
Checkpoint, next checkpoint.
How many guys were sleeping in the barn? How many fellow soldiers were with you when Patton came?
Who?
How many?
When Patton came, how many soldiers were in the barn with you?
How many soldiers? Our platoon.
Oh, wow. In the middle of the night, they had to go, right?
Yeah.
Minutes, please.
1.
Wow, that was interesting. Did you ever have a run-in with Patton after that?
What?
Did you ever run in with Patton after that? Did you ever see him again?
Say,
Did you ever see General Patton after that evening? Did you ever meet up with General Patton again?
yeah, I see him. He's on the other side of the Rhine River, pissed into the water.
Oh yeah, because they told him that he couldn't cross the Rhine. He did it quickly, and he always had newspaper staff with him, and so he did cross the Rhine expeditiously, and he whipped it out and pissed in the Rhine just to let everyone know that he could do it.
Yeah.
Oh, that was something.
Minutes.
28 seconds.
And they said Patton, blood and guts. How does that go?
What?
Patton says blood and guts, they nickname him.
Our guts and his our blood and his guts.
Yeah.
That was a guy, all right.
Our blood and his guts. That's amazing, Mr. Jeckovich.
All right, we'll pick it up again tomorrow.
Okay, we got